Accord to end discord. 16 political parties signed peace accord ahead of Anambra governorship election. Voters to vote for competence over promises and pledges. Also on political updates, what's up with the PDP? This party slides into another round of crisis. We have this and more on the program. I'm Fisayo Ogunfuyi. This is Political Update. Welcome. The 16 governorship candidates in the Anambra State off-cycle governorship election and their political parties have reiterated their commitment to peaceful conduct before, during and after the election come November 8. Their positions were made known at the signing of the peace accord which took place in Awka, the state capital.
Of the accord is to commit the 16 contesting political parties and their governorship candidates participating in the election to accept the result of the election if adjudged to be free, fair and credible. The meeting further encouraged political parties to avoid statements that will incite violence before, during and after the election. The National Chairman INEC, Joash Ojo Anukwiton, and the Inspector General of Police, who was represented, promised not to compromise the process and hailed the commitment of the National Peace Commission in ensuring peaceful elections in Nigeria.
Voters should therefore expect a significant improvement in election day logistics. Enhanced resource management process will also be evident. The Nigerian police force has developed an integrated intelligence-driven operational plan designed to prevent infractions, neutralize threats, and secure the election process.
Other activities that characterized the event was the reading of the peace accord and goodwill messages from election stakeholders.
Actually meant to encourage the political actors because we have to work diligently, confidently, and happily to make sure that democracy becomes believable, that democracy becomes credible.
Is the consensus of the electorate in Anambra State that the best practices promised and assured by all stakeholders, especially governorship candidates, will reflect come November 8.
And as the November 8 off-cycle governorship election in Anambra State approaches, the electorate say they are ready to choose a candidate who will take the mantle of leadership for the next 4 years. Dora and we interacted with some eligible voters on their preparedness to cast their ballot.
In a culture of poor electoral participation in Nigeria, and Anambra State is not an exception. In the previous Anambra governorship election of 2021, 253,388 voters participated in the election out of more than 2.5 million registered voters. The respondents said the situation may not be quite different as questions of credibility and vote buying demoralize active participation of the electorate.
We are fully prepared. We get our PVC and we are waiting for the day of the election. We go down and vote the right person, the right candidate.
I consider the person's personality, how the person is going to serve the public, the future of our kids.
They urge voters to focus on the manifesto of candidates as articulated.
I'm voting for somebody that will actually lead us in a very good and upright way.
Any government that is given the mandate to fight for insecurity, I think I will go for that and I will still campaign for the person.
The electorate are optimistic that their vote will count, going by the promise of the electoral umpire.
Meanwhile, Vice President Kashim Shettima has advised Governor of Bayelsa State, Senator Doyediri, to demonstrate leadership by uniting all members of the party for the progress and stability of the party in the state. The Vice President gave the advice with an assurance that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led federal government will support the administration to achieve the needed development of Bayelsa State. This was at an official reception of the Bayelsa State Governor, Senator Doyediri, to the All Progressives Congress APC in Yenagoa.
2027, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu with his vice president will be returned unopposed in the South-South.
He takes over as a leader of APC in Bayelsa State.
The Bayelsa State Governor, Doyediri, receiving the flag from the national chairman of APC, said he decided to join the party, going by fruitless efforts to fix the problems within the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and the support of President Tinubu-led administration to complete the Nembe Bras Phase 2 Road, the coastal roads, among other federal government projects in the states.
And so the love you have shown to us, we will reciprocate. And we are very sure that Bayelsa people will reciprocate.
Vice President Kashim Shettima, receiving the governor and other PDP stalwarts to APC, applauded their courage, noting that the state has chosen national integration rather than political isolation. He noted that with the governor's decision to join the governing All Progressive Congress, he has automatically become the leader of the party in the states, and called to unite the party with assurances from the government at the center to support him to achieve the needed development.
I have a simple message for you from the president and from the chairman of our party. As per the APC constitution, the governor is the leader of the party in the state. I want to make it unequivocally clear.
South, East and West governors, National Assembly members and other APC stakeholders were in attendance.
More on the issue of PDP later, but a political group tagged President Bola Ahmed Tinubu ethical political ideology has formally launched a movement anchored on true leadership values to project the president's exceptional governance patterns enshrined in the renewed Hope agenda. The group said President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has changed the meaning of governance under democratic settings through initiation of people-oriented policies and programs, ethical political ideology movement, explained that infrastructure delivery, NEL fund, social network programs, and security, amongst others, have been the catchphrase.
We're just celebrating him. It's not politics. We are only telling Nigerians that a good thing has come to our country. And you know that this good thing, we want it to stay.
I respect, I trust his leadership, and I believe he is going to bring change for me in this Nigeria, and that is why I'm here. And I will still stand by him. We will continue to stand by him, by this administration, by our country. There is no going back.
Over 440 projects. You know, I go on throughout the country, you know, in terms of infrastructure, you know, going on. So many things are happening positively that this government, you know, has brought to the table.
All right, let's now go to our topic of the day. Political parties are now, you know, calibrating ahead of, you know, the 2027 polls. But of course, this week will be a litmus test for the independent, the election management body, as well as political parties, talking about the Anambra off-cycle governorship elections, which is just in about 4 days from now. And joining us in the studio on Political Updates is the Deputy National Chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, talking about Dr. Dikbo Olayoku. He is also the National Secretary of the New Nigeria People's Party, and that's NNPP. The Anambra governorship election. Doctor, thank you for joining us, first of all. Before I go to my question, thank you for taking this time to speak to us.
Yeah, thank you very much, Fisayo.
Yes,
and, good afternoon, Nigerians.
Yes, now the Anambra governorship election is coming, you know, this Saturday. We have seen about 16 political parties in that clip sign a peace accord. But this is not the first time such agreements have been reached by candidates and their political parties. This time around, are they likely to adhere to the provisions within the peace document?
Yes, thank you very much. I don't think there's any reason for anybody not to adhere to the terms of the peace accord. You know, at the end of the package your correspondent read, he said there's a caveat, and that is what we want Nigerians to take notice of. That I think one of the candidates said, provided the election will be free and fair and acceptable to them. I think that should be the major focus of Nigerians, the stakeholders, and the principal actors as we go into the election on Saturday. I don't think there's any sane human being that would like to foment trouble without any provocation. And again, especially when there are indications that many Nigerians do not have confidence in the post-election mechanism to resolve issues. I think those are the things that Nigerians should take into consideration.
All right, if we go to Anambra itself and look at what has happened in the past months, it has been a fractious process with candidates attaching each other's reputations. But now that we are at the business end of the process, do you expect this crossfire to simmer down at least this week?
Yeah, we need to even commend the people of Anambra this time around, because hitherto, I mean, in the past elections, we have seen some very serious concerns about violence. But to God be the glory, thank God, in the ongoing electioneering campaign, we have not seen much of violence, or much of the violence we have witnessed is the violence of rhetorics as against the physical violence that we witnessed in the past. I think that is a must. I think what we need to do as a country is to carry on so that we don't encourage people to go into physical violence. And there's a glimpse of hope, because there is, like the Yoruba people will say, a new river has come into, a new water has come into being. Definitely, some new species of fish who inhabit the water. So I think with the appointment of a new leadership at the apex of INEC, I think Nigerians should have hope that things will turn out better.
All right,
but that does not mean that the past leadership of the INEC has been faulty. But I think there's that hope generally that when a new things comes on board, Nigerians accept something that probably a new leadership and a new orientation has come into place.
All right, you just took the question out of my mouth, just as also that the way you also peeped into my wardrobe before coming to the studio. But let me ask, you know, just like you have highlighted this particular matter, because we saw at the peace accord Professor Joash Amupiton also talking about an improved process. But in terms of also being a stakeholder, you are a national secretary of a prominent party in the country. What would be your expectation in terms of what the professor and erudite scholar should be looking at in these first few weeks of his helmsmanship of the election management body?
I think what should be paramount to the leadership of INEC now, especially the new chairman of INEC, that's the Professor Amopiton, is that he needs to reciprocate the goodwill that greeted his appointment. I don't think there's any Nigerian that has any reservation about his appointment because of his rich antecedents, and then he has never been found wanting in the areas where he has operated up till now. So I think that should be very paramount in his mind, and the leadership of INEC in general, because there's the need for them to reciprocate, like I said. But there's the one thing which we always need to emphasize, because anytime there's any issue with our elections, we always point accusing fingers or focus on INEC. I think there's a need for Nigerians to shelve that idea, because there's something they call willing seller, willing buyer. If nobody approaches INEC officials, we shouldn't forget that the INEC leadership especially will be in Abuja, but they have their men in the field. And interestingly, many of the people, let me say about 80% of people that conduct election in Nigeria are not INEC staff. They are actual ad hoc staff. So whenever these guys misbehave in the field, we quickly point accusing fingers at the INEC headquarters and the leadership. I think Nigerians should rather lay more emphasis or focus more on those guys in the field, and especially the politicians. Most of the time, it is the politicians that approach, that approach these guys to misbehave. If we on our part as politicians decide to play by the rule, there's little or nothing INEC can do, because INEC cannot come to your party to say, come, do you want me to play game with you? If you don't go to them, they will not play game. I think it behoves for Nigerian politicians to allow our electioneering and our elections to count. so that we will be a pride, especially when it comes to elections in Africa. So this appeal is to politicians.
All right, I'm talking about politicians. A lot of them, that the politicians, that is to say, are cross-carpeting from different parties to different parties. What is your association talking about IPAC? What is the council doing to discourage this seasonal political migration, which sometimes even confuses the followers?
Yeah, thank you very much. Because at the party meeting levels, I mean, we discuss some of these things, but there's little or nothing the IPAC can do. I think what we need to do is, one, there's a need for Nigerian politicians to think about the value. And then two, human beings by nature, we like to misbehave at times. That is why societies put certain places in place to check some of these activities. But a situation where there are no repercussions or consequences for some acts which are unholy, then definitely people will continue. We have an aspect in the Constitution that is very clear, that once you defect, when there is no division within your party, it's automatic. That was what we were witnessing in the past. But all of a sudden, they changed it and said, no, you need to go to court and stuff like that. I think there should be consequences for this thing. The Supreme Court has made it very clear in the case of the former governor of Rivers State, Amechi, that the mandate belongs to the party. That is why on the day of election, they only put the logo of the party on the ballot paper. So, that means when you are winning the election, you are winning the election because of that party. And the moment you leave the party, it should be automatic that you must lose that mandate. If there is a confusion or lacuna, I think those people in the National Assembly, if they are really serious and genuine about their love for deepening our democracy, then maybe there's a need for them to tinker with that part of the constitution that will make it very unambiguous, that once you leave the party, you must leave their mandate behind. Until we get there, you will continue to see people going, especially when elections are coming, when some people have the belief that it's only the ruling party that can secure their return. And interestingly, when eventually after election, the ruling party loses election, they will start doing a reverse gear, as they say in some circle.
All right, let's move on very quickly and talk about some of the worst state as far as these movements are concerned. The internal crisis now affecting the People's Democratic Party. The party seems to be sinking deeper and deeper into crisis. Senator Samuel Anyan, who led faction, says it has taken over the national headquarters of the party amid tight security. Let's take that scenario that happened earlier in the week, and then of course we'll look at what has happened since then.
For the PDP, the major opposition political party, this Monday began with a convergence of party members and supporters of the declared acting national chairman of the PDP, Mohammed Abdurrahman, by the Wike Anyanwu-led faction. They thereafter proceeded to the Wadata Plaza, national headquarters of the PDP. Heavy security presence here as the vice chairman, PDP North Central, Mohammed Abdurrahman, accompanied by loyal NWC members, assumes office as the party's acting national chairman, promising to heal the party of its wounds.
A lot of wrongdoings within the party, and the highest organ of the party, which is the National Working Committee, now look into and agree to make a possibility of having a leadership that will bring everybody together. And that is why the former national chairman was being suspended. And that's how I emerged as an active national chairman for our party.
Yeah, he's active chairman for now. He will act until we get a substantive chairman. For now, everything about we are obeying the court order. The court judgment is quite clear. And we are not adverse of doing the convention, but we want the right thing to be done so that our party will be strong and strong to go into convention with one unity.
Abdurrahman was declared acting national chairman of the PDP by the Samuel Anyanwu-led National Working Committee after it announced the suspension of the party's national chairman, Umar Damagum, and the National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologunagba, and 4 others.
And lastly, of course, as a reaction to that, concerned party loyalists under the banner of the PDP Patriots have reaffirmed their unwavering support for the Ambassador Ilya Damagun-led National Working Committee, condemning the recent wave of defection by some elected officials as detrimental to the party growth. The group also, at a media briefing in Abuja, appealed to the PDP Board of Trustees, I beg your pardon, which is the conscience of the party, to urgently resolve the crisis in the party.
Statement by the PDP.
The gale of suspensions in the PDP is a major agenda here. PDP patriots believe that the development is destabilizing and harmful to party unity.
We, the PDP patriots, hereby affirm our total support and loyalty to the People's Democratic Party as espoused by the PDP founding fathers on the pedestal of peace, inclusivity, fairness, and justice.
The group cautioned defectors against maligning the PDP, saying their departures were driven by personal ambition rather than internal party crises. They commended grassroots members for their loyalty, noting that the base of the party remains strong and committed.
I'm sure you can bet that we've not heard the last of what has happened in the PDP. We'll be giving you updates on that in the course of the week, and of course daily updates on what is happening in Anambra as we move closer to D-Day November 8. Our correspondents are already across the state to give us updates as far as the election is concerned. And we have two solid stations right there in Onitsha and Oka ready and raring to go. That has been the program. Many thanks to our guest, Vice National Chairman of IPAC, Mr. Dipo Olayoku, for coming, and of course it's also the National Secretary of NMPP. Thank you for joining us.
It's always a pleasure.
And of course for you for watching. Of course, between now and when we see you again, please keep it locked on the Nigerian Television Authority and play your politics for the greater good. Bye-bye now.